into a brand new episode of Recent Record Reviews. I'm Hids.
And I'm Dan.
And we're here to review records
that are recent.
What?
Yeah!
Bro.
And we got back Vanessa Fernandez today again.
Yeah.
She's from Lush 99.5 in case you guys didn't know.
Yep. She's also a recording artist called Vandetta.
Yes.
Please check out her work.
Vandetta and Vanessa Fernandez, she's releasing a new covers album of Led Zeppelin songs, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Look out for that in June. The first album that we'll be talking about is the new EP, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
the new EP from a young singer-songwriter from Singapore, originally from Wales, named Chris Jones, aka These Brittle Bones.
Last time he was very, very young, now he's just young.
Yeah. He popped up in Singapore as a 13-year-old and he made waves with like his Living the Woods EP, songs like Anchor Bleed, Bloom and Plex. They came out like in 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Saw him perform. I mean, like he is, his lyrics are pretty mature, so I was pretty shocked to see like this 13-year-old just on this piano with that voice. And he kind of made his name on that. He's been kind of on hiatus lately, but he's come back with a brand new EP called Effects, and supposedly it presents like a whole new electronic context to his kind of ambient piano-driven soundscape. So what do you think of his new sound?
Well, I mean, like you mentioned about him being 13 years old and really starting with that kind of music, whereas we were talking about game soundtracks and how we're listening to all those as 13 years old. So obviously, like the kind of like maturity as a young boy, it's very rare. And even right now, when he's like, I think he's 17 years old right now. Yeah, that was about 4 years ago. So even at 17 years old right now, like the EP they put out, I really think is his best to date. Still displays the same kind of maturity that we've come to love about him, but at the same time, with like this new electronic production he's adopted, he's found a way to adopt that with his voice, and like he displays like this fragility in his voice, which is very stunning to listen to at times. So like considering like he's not taken into just about the lyrics, but as well as how the whole song is presented and with like the structures. So it becomes a very engaging listen, especially from the first time. So I really enjoyed it.
It really feels like he's growing up like before our eyes with his music.
I know,
it's
right?
Like a coming of age experience. It's nice to see. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna kind of disagree with you guys. Yeah, so
that's why you're here.
I feel like it's classic. These Brittle Bones, if you can call it classic, given his like 4-year career. But it's sort of like it's him and it's style, and yes, it's emotive and it's soundscapey and it's cinematic, and I do love all those things. But then at the same time, I also just felt it kind of sounded the same. So and for me, that was my only thing about it. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. But in my mind, I was like, I wonder what it'd be like if he actually worked with different producers, or if he collaborated with other people. Because I feel like yes, he was experimenting with electronica and stuff like that.
It wasn't that big enough of a change.
Yeah, I feel, but that's fine. He's sort of like still young. It's still really brilliant. I would love to see him actually really push the experimentation. For sure. I feel like with an artist like that, who's so thoughtful and so talented, then like when you just go all the way left and
that's true.
come back,
it's interesting because I feel like me and Dan, like when we've ever talked about these Brittle Bones, we kind of grade him on a curve because of his age.
Yeah.
And maybe we shouldn't, or we should. I don't know.
Like after a while, since like he's kind of reaching the age of like adulthood soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like even as a child, like when we grade him like that, it's strange because like you wouldn't think that there are any musicians out there his age making music like that.
Yeah.
But I actually get what she's talking about also.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I still think that in the context of his work so far, it is definitely his best, and it definitely impressed me compared to everything else. I guess like maybe I haven't been so impressed that when he did something which is just a slight left turn from his usual stuff, it has definitely made such an impression.
I think the thing that really resonates about these Brittle Bones are like his lyrics are quite autobiographical. Specifically about like Numb was about his feelings after his grandmother unfortunately passed away. He was going through a rough breakup, so it's kind of rare to see that kind of emotional sincerity and like bravely bearing your soul for a 17-year-old, because I know I wouldn't do it on record. So that's quite admirable, and so is his talent and like knack for like composing songs. Although like I do agree with Vanessa, it does kind of sound
I'm more processing it on like as a whole, because when I listen to stuff, I also like to hear like journeys. That's how I process like.
And that's the thing. Like for Brittle Bones, he takes his journey very seriously. So like the Hero EP was meant to be a representation of his old and new styles. So obviously like he takes into consideration like his progress as an artist. So how would you rate this?
I'm gonna give this a 6.5 out of 10.
Cool.
I'm actually gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10.
I'm in the middle. I'm giving this a 7. This will be released on April 15th on Bandcamp. So if you are interested in checking it out, please find it there. And the second album we'll be reviewing is by an artist called Ash Koosha. The album's called AKA. Ash Koosha is actually short for an Iranian name, Ashkan. Oh my god, I'm gonna mangle this. Kooshanejad. Ashkan Kooshanejad.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. He's an Iranian multi-instrumentalist composer, also an actor, also a film director. He's also the singer of an Iranian duo called like Take It Easy Hospital. He mainly plays like the synthesizer, bass, and guitar on that. Right. He first came to prominence actually in like Cannes when he starred in a docu-fiction film called No One Knows About Persian Cats. And not fun fact, like kind of a sad fact, the reaction to that film, which was about his band kind of trying to find Iranian bands to play UK festival. Right. The reaction to that politically in his homeland wasn't so great. He was kind of like
exiled.
He was exiled. He had to find asylum in London, which is where he is now.
But I guess all for the better. So, considering that now he has his new career. All for the better for his career.
The silver lining.
The silver lining. Silver lining. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Silver lining.
Silver lining. So seeking asylum is never pleasant.
Yes.
But like when he did move to London, as Dan pointed out, his career actually took off. Like he signed to a label called GUD Good, where he released his solo debut album last year. His album is called Good, and his the label is called Old English Spelling Bee. And he's kind of one-upped his game now. He's on Ninja Tune.
Yes, that's right.
It's on Ninja Tune,
Which is weird because like Old English Spelling Bee is actually a very experimental label. And like they have all sorts of music, and a lot of it is very weird but very interesting stuff. And from that to jump to Ninja Tune is actually a huge jump, but like for good reason, because Good actually had a shit ton of good reviews last year. And it's strange. I guess like it was surprising that he actually pushed out a new album so soon. But I guess with this new album, like I like his approach and his tenacity with like experimenting all these different like like all these different like melodies and structures. It's very off kilter, but at the same time, like I feel that for this new album, like you can kind of tell that he wanted to make dance tracks. I guess tracks that you can dance to, but like there was a lot of like intentional sabotage to make sure that you can't really dance to this. So like I just felt like I was kind of spectating the tracks, what I mean? Right. And like there was never really something that was totally enveloping and something to totally grip me by. So every time I listened to it, it was just more like, oh, like this is nice, like I admire that, but I was never really like enticed by it. Like there was nothing really like exceptional about it.
I kind of kind of like picking out the strains of what he wanted to, because he like a lot of the songs are this construction of familiar dance patterns. Like there's like Western hip hop, synth pop, Jamaican dancehall, and even like some Middle Eastern folk music kind of thrown there, and it's deconstructed and rearranged in a very jarring way. Which is like interesting to listen to.
Exactly.
Sonically interesting. But like I suppose it doesn't work as a song. I'm not sure it's supposed to. In fact, actually, like my favorite songs are the ones where he like played it straight. Like I think like the opening track, like OTE, was the one where he played it straight, and that was great. Muda Fossil, like track 5, he played it pretty straight. Also, that's the one with like the Middle Eastern folk intro. So like that's what I liked about it. What about you, Vanessa?
This is kind of like, to me, it's like a very, it makes sense that he's on Ninja Tune, and this is a release that would come out on Ninja Tune. I think I describe this as like somebody going into a cave and then making music in there, because it's very sort of like dirty and bassy on the low end, and then you have all this sort of like Foley and synth sound on the top. So like the space feels like this. So that's how I felt when I was listening to it. The other thing that I felt was also, I feel like this was from 2 different parts of his life, where like in the cave, it's like he's just, I'm in this cave and I'm making music, and then like at this point was like, oh, I think I kind of know how to use this cave space. So there were like some songs where I could feel that sort of, it was a bit more raw, and then on other ones it seemed like almost he had a bit more refinement in his production. So that's what I thought about that. I think that this album requires a little bit of patience, because like a lot of his tracks don't really build towards the end, even though they're like super short tracks.
It's intriguing, but it's like Sonic with Flash, when you say like he goes from one to the other very quickly.
So that's why for me, like I never really felt quite engaged, because like I know what he's doing, but it's not engaging me in that visceral aspect, I guess.
It's not engaging, but it's really thrilling because I never know what.
And I also think that he's the kind of like, he's a sonic architect. It's more about the playing of the songs, sounds versus actually making songs.
But I guess like in contrast to like maybe artists like One Tricks Whenever, who's also like that, but there is this stunning emotional resonance that he has, especially with like the newest album, which is what made me like it so much. Whereas for this one, it's just more like, I'm gonna play with this, I'm gonna play with that, and there's nothing really connecting it all together. So
it's like interesting mutations, but I'm not sure where he's going.
Exactly. Yeah. So how would you rate it?
Despite the kind of negative things I said, like I was still like quite thrilled by it. I liked it for the most part. It's a 7.5 for me.
Vanessa?
I would give it a 7.
I'll actually give it a 6 out of 10 because there was a lot to like about the album, but at the same time I just couldn't really get much out of it. But this is definitely an artist to watch for sure.
For sure, yeah. The third and final album that we'll be talking about is by DJ Rashad called Afterlife. Afterlife is the first release from the new Teklife Records label, and all things considered, it's actually really appropriate that DJ Rashad should be the first artist on imprint, even if it is posthumous. He is the godfather in footwork and the whole Teklife movement after all. And this whole thing is like kind of designed as a celebration of his live music, how he inspired like other Chicago footwork artists. The album features like 15 previously unreleased tracks from him, and it also features collaborations with friends from Teklife and even beyond. So like it's basically a tribute album. What do you think about it?
Well, I guess like we've definitely got to talk about like when DJ Rashad died, because like I remember actually waking up in the morning and seeing that in the news. And as far as like music goes, it was one of the most devastating things to actually witness, because like
he was in his prime.
He was in his prime, and like not only that, like we've also seen so many veteran musicians go away, and that's bad enough. But to see a musician who is still emerging and currently right now is producing really fantastic work also, and still so young, and like it was really sad to see that lah. So especially like when he released the Double Cup in 2013, because like in terms of footwork, like I didn't really get to see a lot of like cohesive albums coming out of the genre. At least not until like Jalen's Dark Energy. That one really set the standard lah, at least in 2014. But like at that time, I mostly saw singles, so like to actually see an album to produce like consistent tracks, you know, one after another, and like it's both like it's like dynamic, it's energetic, but it's atmospheric, and it's still very melancholic. So that definitely gripped me from the start to finish. So that was like a true example of like how much of a master DJ Rashad was at the footwork genre, at the same time like introducing it to like a non-footwork audience, because footwork has been such a city genre. It's from Chicago, right?
It's such a regional phenomenon.
Exactly.
Nobody knew what it was
exactly.
until like Rashad or maybe the UK producers started picking it up, you know?
That's right. So like I guess for this compilation, it may not feature some of like the best tracks I heard from footwork, but it serves as like an excellent example of like how much the genre can achieve, and like how all these artists have still a lot to prove.
I mean like footwork isn't designed for listening, it's for the floor. Which is why we haven't heard that many like cohesive albums from it. But that's where like Rashad came in and changed the game. Like now there's like Jalen as well, stuff like that. What do you think of it?
I actually really loved listening to this a lot. I think like it's definitely like a dance floor sort of like album. A lot of tracks that would get added to my Get Ready playlist when I wrote in there. And I also felt like, you know, you had a lot of sort of like soul samples and old school samples in there, as well as like really pretty chords, which kind of like almost felt for me like it was like footwork but deeper, by being softer, you know. And I really enjoyed that. I think some of the tracks that I super love is the first track, Roll Up That Loud, also Get You Burnt, like super vibey. Actually, this whole tribute album is just vibes. The whole thing is just vibes. The Come Close with the Neo sample, there's a Missy Elliott sample on one of the songs. There's a Jill Scott sample on Lost Worlds. Is it Lost Worlds? No, Roll a Tree. Great song. I really lovely. So I super love this. Cool. I actually really like the collaborators that they got on as well. Well, not he got on, like his label got like Spin, Tracksman, DJ Junaini. They're like kind of the future of footwork, and you know, people keep looking back at Rashad and kind of forgetting that there's a whole new generation of it. So this is great but like I think like all posthumous art, you kind of have to ask the question like how does this fit into his legacy?
Exactly.
And I actually don't think it actually does much. Like this Afterlife is made out of incomplete tracks, and it does feel kind of incomplete in a way.
It does,
So I don't know what to quite think about it. I enjoyed it, but it just actually makes me feel sad.
Yeah, it does. But I guess like the silver lining looking at this is that I hope that it serves as like a template which people will follow on and develop on also. Because like it definitely shows some of the best stuff that DJ Rashad has made, but at the same time, because it's so incomplete also, you can hopefully it gives more ideas to newer artists also and producers.
It's skeletal and like fragmentary, but like it's like distilled to its like purest idea, which is still great lah. And that's kind of the blueprint, I guess, that future footwork artists can follow.
Yeah, for sure. So how would you rate it?
This is a 7. I would usually rate Rashad's stuff higher, but just because like it feels incomplete to me, and naturally it is. So this is a 7.
Yeah. Vanessa?
I think like for me, I think it's a great celebration and of collaboration and of people inspired by Rashad, and I actually found it very, very enjoyable, so I'm going to give it an 8.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 as well. I think that Afterlife only like represents a sliver of like Rashad's true genius, and hopefully this is a compilation that will spur anyone else to actually check out his other stuff, which is truly mind-bending.
Yeah. And also, all the profits from this album actually goes to Rashad's family, so don't torrent this.
Yeah.
Buy it. And with that, we've come to the end of a brand new episode of Recent Record Reviews. If you like what you just saw or you didn't like what we talked about, please leave a comment. If there are any records that you want us to review, please comment below as well. Do remember to subscribe, and for Hids, Dan and Vanessa, we out.
Peace.